And welcome to Geekdom and Laughing Stock Media's breakdown of the new Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice trailer. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, but I might not be doing for a very short amount of time, as we'll see.
Well, we'll get to it. So, yes, folks, the second and actually the first full-length Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice trailer has dropped, and Mike and I are going to do a frame-by-frame, maybe not a frame-by-frame, but a scene-by-scene breakdown and give our thoughts on the film thus far. And yes, as you can see down here, I already gave it a thumbs down. And we'll talk about why, but not everything's bad. There's good and there's bad, but we'll talk about it as we go through. So let's go ahead and watch this trailer, Mike, and we'll get to it. So here we have the opening shot, which appears to be Bruce Wayne arriving in Metropolis. And there is, of course, Henry Cavill. Is that how you say his name, Cavill?
Yeah, Cavill or Cavill.
Yeah. And, of course, this is Clark Kent meeting Bruce Wayne. Now, what are your initial reactions before we go any further on Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne? Because I think a lot of fans are writing him off.
I think he looks very good. I think that he definitely looks the part of Batman in this trailer, to be honest. I think he's going to do well.
Yeah, I think too many people have bad memories of Daredevil, but it's a different movie, different director, different direction, different producer, different everything.
Different Ben Affleck.
Different Ben Affleck. Yeah, Ben Affleck's gotten a lot better lately, so let's give him a chance here. I don't think he's on the level of like a Michael Keaton or like a Christian Bale, but I think he's doing okay, but he might surprise us. We'll find out.
Yep.
So, go ahead.
Well, first off, before we actually talk about their initial meeting, the first thing I wanted to mention is that the first thing that we hear Clark Kent ask is, "Who's that?" So you mean to tell me that Clark Kent, who is a reporter, who should, have access to a television, has no idea who Bruce Wayne, one of the most wealthy and publicly known CEOs in the world, he doesn't know who he is? Like, come on.
Maybe he's in the Fortress of Solitude, like jacking off while Bruce Wayne's on TV or something, dude. Like,
yeah, with QAAMAN.
Yeah, it's in Antarctica. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. It's a little weird, but maybe he's faking it. Now, of course, he asked him about the Bat Vigilante, and he smirks because we're supposed to, I mean, we all know. Interesting direction they're taking with these movies, Mike. Let me turn this down a little tiny bit. So what happens here is pretty much Clark Kent is accusing Gotham City of letting a vigilante run around.
Which is hypocritical considering that he's one.
Exactly, and that's the point that Bruce Wayne brings up to Clark Kent. He says, well, wait a minute, your city and the Daily Bugle have tried to essentially protect the identity or protect the integrity of Superman, even though Superman in the previous film was responsible for the deaths of many, many, many people, which was criticized tremendously by a lot of the fan base.
Yeah.
And I do love the line, though, when he says, and there's the ha-ha, joke's on you, Batman. I think this might actually be a flashback. I don't think we're going to see the Joker in this movie.
I don't think that. I think that this suit might be the preserved suit of Jason Todd, the Joker, the Robin that the Joker murdered. I think that might actually be what this is.
You're not the first one that's told me that before. It's very possible. Now, I like the fact, I like the fact that they're bringing up kind of the hypocrisy of the Daily Bugle and Gotham and, Superman killing a bunch of people, and they're both essentially vigilantes. But I think that's going to also tie into how they eventually will team up, because it's the whole thing where it's like we don't really like each other, but then once we realize that we're kind of very similar, we're going to be buddies type thing. They both have the same mentality.
Yeah.
So, and they have this little conversation or whatever. And the thing that's interesting, Mike, I'm going to get your thoughts on this. DC is taking a drastically different direction with these films than Marvel. Now, obviously, Marvel has the formula for success, and it's worked. Marvel Cinematic Universe is the highest grossing franchise ever. Bigger than Star Wars, bigger than Harry Potter, bigger than Middle-earth. They're taking a different strategy. I want to get your thoughts on this. Rather than doing individual origin stories, I feel like these films, and I'm talking about this one, I'm talking about the upcoming Justice League two-parter, I'm talking about the Aquaman and the Wonder Woman films, I feel like they're actually going to be they're going to be totally different. They're not going to get origin stories like Iron Man and Black Panther. Actually, Black Panther might not even get one for because he's going to be Captain America first. But they're doing it to where in the films, these superheroes are already established. Like, Batman has already been feuding with the Joker. We don't need to see Batman the Joker's origin story because we have the Tim Burton Batman and we have the Christopher Nolan Batman Begins and the Dark Knight films. It's already been told a million times, and the comic books and the TV series. So I feel like DC for the films is skipping all that, and now it's like we know that Batman and Joker have been rivals. We know this, so they're kind of skipping that. How do you feel about that strategy?
Honestly, there's good and bad to it. First off, I mean, we've already seen, I guess, the cinematic. We've already seen Superman's, like, in this cinematic universe thus far, we've already seen his beginnings and his origin. Like, they already did that for him.
Yeah,
For
Man of
Batman,
Steel, which
like,
was
we
the
already
first
pretty much
movie.
know it. And in the previous trailer, we saw that there actually is a flashback to seeing Bruce Wayne's parents being murdered. So it seems like they're going to touch on it in this movie. Like, you know, this is his reintroduction in this cinematic universe, so they're going to actually touch on it. But I just feel like they're doing it the wrong way. I feel like they're going the complete opposite direction of what they should be. Because it seems like in this movie, and we'll get to it a little bit later, they're just shoving in so much stuff into one single movie and compressing everything into that so that they can introduce every character at the same time to, like, try and race, like, to catch up to Marvel, which is a really bad idea because when you're actually trying to get people to go into a new cinematic universe, which is cross-shared and all this other stuff, you don't, like, force people into, like, right in the middle of it. You got to ease them in or else they'll reject it. Like, that's how, you know, that's a psychological thing right there.
Well, you're right, and I think the way that their strategy is going could have worked if they had much more of a build-up, but we now know the Dark Knight Christopher Nolan films, even though Nolan produced Man of Steel, we know that they're not related to these at all. In other words, the Batman in this universe, in the Dawn of Justice trailer and the film, is not in any way related to the Batman from the Chris Nolan movies. There was some confusion about this, okay? Now the fan, you know for sure they're not related. The thing is, it can be done if it's done right, but I agree with you in that, and we're going to talk about this as we go through the trailer. I feel like this movie and the upcoming ones are going to cram way too much. This movie, we're going to get to it here in a minute, I think just crams too much. But you're telling me that you believe that we're going to get the Batman origin story in bits and pieces during this film as a flashback. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I gathered from the previous trailer, yes. Because they cast Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who was the comedian in The Watchmen, another Zack Snyder movie, to play Thomas Wayne, Bruce Wayne's father. So I know that they're going to show them.
Okay, now this right here is, to me, honestly, the biggest problem I have with this film. Nothing against Jesse Eisenberg, okay? It's not that he's not a talented actor. The character he's portraying here, so he's playing Lex Luthor.
Yes.
The Lex Luthor in this film is Lex Luthor only in name. There's literally nothing, absolutely nothing about Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor that's in any way resembling the comic, the animated series, the Kevin Spacey film, the previous Christopher Reeve films. I don't see Lex Luthor here. He's acting more like Heath Ledger's Joker than he is Lex Luthor. Like, he's like, oh, look, Clark Kent. You know, and it's like we're supposed to mark out over them meeting.
I hate that.
It
reminds me of J.J. Abrams, how he executed Star Trek II, where he had Benedict Cumberbatch's character, who we knew was Khan the entire movie, tell Kirk, my name is Khan, like in a big reveal. But to Kirk, that wouldn't make any sense. It's like, okay, like, that's your name. Who cares? Like, it only matters to the audience.
Almost like a fourth wall breaking thing. Like, wink, wink. Hey guys, look, Batman, Superman, first time ever on film.
He just seems very campy in this movie, which is not like the direction they should be going in. Especially, it just seems very tonally like clashing to have his character like this be very campy. Now, I have heard a rumor that, first off, there was a rumor that he's Lex Luthor's father, which I don't think is the case now.
Well, how does that make any sense?
It doesn't make any sense. Now I've heard another rumor that it's actually Lex Luthor Jr. So Alexander Luthor Jr. is the character that we're seeing right now, who is Lex Luthor's son. And the real Lex Luthor is his father, who we may or may not see at some point.
Really? So they're doing like the whole Shredder thing from Turtles, where we didn't know it was really Shredder, and it was supposed to be that guy, but then it really wasn't? Okay, that's weird.
That they might end up doing that, which I would definitely prefer, although it still doesn't make a lot of sense, especially since Jesse Eisenberg, even though he plays younger characters, is himself like in his 30s. But I just think if this is the real Lex Luthor we're getting, this is just a really just bad casting
It's
choice.
not Lex, man. It's not Lex. And the thing is, I respect Jesse Eisenberg. And if I were Jesse Eisenberg and they said, "Hey, do you want to play one of the most iconic villains ever?" I'd take it. But
obviously,
the direction that Zack Snyder's going in, dude, I agree with you. Yeah, this is not. And like, yeah, he's marking out over these guys meeting. Oh, you got a nice grip there, And yeah, he's being very campy. And to your point, if they're gonna go the campy route. We've seen Batman be campy. We've kind of seen Superman be campy if you watch The Quest for Peace. But isn't the entire point of the Man of Steel films and these films that are coming up that DC's going a darker route? Like, isn't the whole gimmick here that, even Superman's not about sunshine and roses anymore. Now it's the darkness, and which people have criticized, and rightfully so. These movies are going to be dark and real. Like, this is supposed to be, because remember, the whole idea behind Man of Steel, when Nolan was talking about it, David S. Goyer, was that it was supposed to be, what if Superman actually existed in our world, okay? So it's going to be real. But this Lex Luthor is not only unrealistic, but is also not close to being anywhere near the character that Lex Luthor is. It's not Lex Luthor. So if it is his son, I agree. That would save it a lot, actually.
Yeah.
And he does look very young, especially with that haircut. So right here we have a problem. Zack Snyder. I've never been a fan of his. I thought Man of Steel sucked. I'm just being honest with you. I'd leave a comment below. You might disagree with me. I did not like that film at all. His only good movie is Dawn of the Dead, in my opinion. Again, my opinion. And then here we have a little bit, I guess Superman's on trial because of what happened in the first movie.
I would assume so. I mean, there are a lot of people who blame Superman. To be honest, I'm not one of those people who blame Superman, because when you think about it, first off, the Superman from Man of Steel, completely inexperienced. He's not really Superman yet. You know what I mean? He's a dude who just he just gains those powers. And then all of a sudden another alien who is actually skilled comes to fight him. He doesn't have time to save people. Now you can blame it on the writing or direction or whatever, which you definitely can, but I wouldn't have blamed Superman for any of the stuff that happened. It wasn't his fault. It was Zod's fault and the people who invaded from Krypton, who were trying to destroy the entire planet. If anything, they should thank Superman for, saving them from not obliterating everything, killing the entire human race.
Well, I think that is what's going to happen at the end of the day. And I actually believe that, and this is not a spoiler, this is my speculation, I think that Bruce Wayne will stand trial at the end of the movie for Superman. He'll be in the court, and I think he'll be the one to clear his name. I really believe that. Now, here we have a shot of Jeremy Irons playing Alfred. Now, I love Jeremy Irons. I love him. Jeremy Irons should always be a villain. His voice is too creepy. He's too good at it. I love Alfred. I think he'll do a fine job. I feel like Jeremy Irons, dude, I don't know if you'll agree with me on this one. I feel like Jeremy Irons, if you're going to put him in these movies, needs to be portraying like a brainiac.
I was right about to say that too. That would have been great if with his voice and the way that he comes off, he would have been a great brainiac, definitely. It's definitely an interesting choice. I think he's a good enough actor to pull it off, but he's better in villainous roles.
I think so too, and then I also wonder what is Alfred's role going to be in the film, because I feel like, and I don't know, we don't have that much information now, but I feel like once Bruce goes to Metropolis, that might just be the end of the whole Gotham thing. I think this movie's going to mostly take place in Metropolis. I don't think it's going to even take place in Gotham.
I heard that Batman gets more screen time in this movie than Superman, which is ironic.
Well, he's got top billing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is that, in this case, Alfred himself is telling him, you're trying to go to war with this man. It's suicide. You cannot win. And he's trying to say, this is not our enemy, in the previous trailer. It just seems honestly, all these different clashes we're seeing, it just seems like they're making Batman out to be an idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just seems like Batman is not doing any detective work. He's just immediately hates Superman, wants to beat him up. And there's no reason for it. It's just oh, I hate you because you could you use, some fucking reasonable thinking? You're Batman, the greatest detective in the history of the world, and you're just I'm gonna fight Superman, who could destroy the entire planet. I'm gonna fight him. Are you an idiot?
I agree with everything you said. The real Batman Bruce Wayne character that we've known would not just blindly want to fight Superman because he saw him destroy a bunch of buildings. He would have done his homework. He would have figured things out. He would have realized. Now, again, we haven't seen the movie yet, so maybe somebody tricks him. But, exactly. The real Batman would have figured out that Superman is not here to hurt people purposely. So I guess that Batman creates a suit. That's what it looks like from this trailer to combat Superman. I just don't know how effective it's going to be. And we do see some bad vehicles, too.
Yeah, it's the same suit from The Dark Knight Returns. Now, some of these scenes that we see,
They
like if you go
look
back,
pretty cool. Okay,
well, if you
where
go
am I going
back, I
here?
think like right there, for example, I think that that's not actually happening. I don't think that what we're seeing like right here with him getting shot at is the exact same scene that we see before when Superman's flying towards him. I think that that's just different editing for the trailer to make it seem like they're still fighting, but I think it takes place after what we're going to see after this,
I think you
with
might be right.
after the thing that explodes, and you'll see in a minute.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Yeah, I mean they are gonna fight at one point in the movie. I think these special effects do look great. I'm
Yeah,
actually
I
gonna
think
be
that
honest;
that's
they look fantastic. Go
I
ahead.
think that scene's a little bit stupid though, because like Batman moved faster than light apparently.
Yeah, I don't really get it. And then this scene right here, again, more mischaracterization. This is nothing like Lex Luthor at all. He's saying, psychotic three-letter word, and then here's a part where they're still fighting. There's the new Batmobile, which I'm kind of excited about.
Yeah.
More toys. And there we see, it
Ugh.
looks like Batman lands a blow on him. I want to see that real quick here. Batman's going to get some hits in on this guy, but I don't know, man. Superman is Superman.
I mean, this thing that right here that we're frozen on though is a big concern of mine
Yes,
because
this is talk about it.
those things that we're seeing flying, the things that are reminiscent of
These
the
bugs.
flying monkeys, I
Yes.
mean, from Wizard of Oz. Now, there is a possibility. There's two possibilities. I'll get into the other one a little bit later on. But there is a possibility that what these things are called parademons. And basically, parademons are minions of Darkseid. Darkseid being one of the new gods, the evil ultimate villain in DC.
Yeah, he's
Who
pretty much the apocalypse of DC. They're even like identical characters in many ways. Not identical,
and
but similar.
yeah, I mean, and putting him into like he's more like Thanos in a lot of ways too. Thanos is actually based on him.
Yeah, but Apocalypse is blue.
Oh yeah, they're both based on him. But the thing is, like, he like introducing him this early. I really think that's a horrible idea if that's actually what they're aiming at right now. Because like the DCU just started. Do not throw Darkseid in there all of a sudden. That is a terrible thing to start off with.
Well, they already are throwing another big top
Yep.
heel here. We're going to get to that here shortly. But yeah, it seems like the film is going to be a combination of like The World's Finest, The Dark Knight Returns, and Doomsday, Superman Doomsday, or The Death Superman. I feel like it's going to be a combination of those three stories plus some other
Yep.
shit. Again, way too much. All right, now this scene looks pretty cool. I'm not. What's going on here when he unmasked Batman? What is the gimmick here? Just finds out he's Bruce Wayne.
Well, that's if you can like if you see his suit, it's a continuation of the scene before with those winged things. I think. Because he's wearing the same suit like that he was before, the desert camo thing that we also saw in the previous movie.
Yeah. And as you can see, folks, the colors are still the same. Zack Snyder loves to use those like browns, and then he uses grays for all his color palettes.
He likes to drown out color. He likes to have it very undersaturated. He just gets rid of all the saturation. And I did a video, which is the vision, is Zack Snyder's vision of the DC cinematic universe a while back, where I pretty much broke it down. And I just don't like his visual direction for the DCU in a lot of ways.
I'm not a big fan of his style either. I always thought DC was very, very colorful.
Yeah, especially Superman.
Especially Superman. Yeah, Batman and Watchmen you can get away with, but not. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't like what he's done to Superman, but nonetheless, okay. So he unmasks him, and then here we have what appears to be the body of General Zod, and I think that's General Zod right there.
Yes, that is Michael Shannon's character.
So it looks like Luthor, this fucking abomination of a Luthor, is gonna use, and I remember this being a storyline in the comics at one point. He's gonna use General Zod's body to create Doomsday. Is that pretty much what's happening here?
Doomsday was not made from Zod. He was a Kryptonian creation that Luthor eventually like resurrects and makes to hate Superman and stuff like that. And he was originally the one who found Luthor. But if you go back to that whole creation scene, there's some very interesting stuff. Now, for example, when we first keep going back, when we see Luthor, no, I mean go forward.
Like right here.
Yeah. Now, look, when you pause it here,
Yeah, Superman's back
first off,
there.
Superman's in the background, but look at that other thing in the background to the left.
I can't tell what the hell that is.
That
Over.
looks like, if you remember Man of Steel, there was that thing that was floating around inside the spaceship that Superman finds. Now, it is possible that what we're looking at right now is that Luthor has somehow found either a Kryptonian spaceship or something like that, and he has retrofitted it for his own devices in order to create Doomsday. Because if you go forward and you actually see the Frankenstein-looking scene, it looks like that's the incubator right there underneath him.
Yeah.
Where they actually had all the Kryptonian like embryos or whatever that Zod was trying to use to, re-terraform the planet to make it new Krypton.
Okay, well that's fair. Then why does he need Zod's body?
Maybe it's because Zod was actually a fully formed Kryptonian with powers, so he's trying to like manipulate both of them to create like this evil thing. But the thing that I really hate, for example, that Lex Luthor was just saying that makes him even more campy than Gene, Hackman's Lex Luthor. He's like, "Oh, if man won't kill God, then the devil will," which is just like, what? Like,
And now is the devil? He's talking about himself, or is he talking about
so.
Doomsday? Okay, well I guess that makes sense. I think I have a real problem with this because Superman's okay. First of all, it looks like a fucking Ninja Turtle. That's number one.
He looks like a Ninja Turtle fucked
Michael
abomination.
Bay. Yeah, exactly. From Michael Bay movies. Okay, here's my issue. Superman. This is the same thing you talk about with Darkseid. Superman's cast of villains is not on the level of like Batman or Spider-Man's, but he still has a pretty deep cast. They've got Brainiac, Mr. Spickley, several other Kryptonian villains. I feel like Doomsday and Darkseid, specifically those two, should be saved for significantly later films, sequels.
Doomsday and Darkseid are the two things that you do not do in the first movie. Doomsday, because
they're blowing their load, bro.
He's the most overpowered villain like ever in terms of like other than like Thanos with like the Gauntlet or the Heart of the Universe.
Yeah, he's one of the most powerful in DC for certain.
He's beaten Darkseid in a fight before because whenever you kill Doomsday, he comes back and he's immune to whatever you killed him with. So Goku could hit him full force with the full Kamehameha. It'll like turn him into like a skeleton, but he'll come back and he'll be immune to like energy.
Yeah, and that's the thing that okay. For those who don't know, we got to educate them. There was a major storyline back in '93.
Yep.
The death of Superman, which was a huge thing. It was the first time they had killed off Superman, and it was not a trick. Doomsday and Superman fought, and Doomsday killed him. They fought. Superman won the fight, but
they killed one another. But I mean, Superman went into this. It was a bullshit thing. Superman went into this healing coma because apparently Superman he's basically immortal. So he went into this Kryptonian healing coma where people thought he was dead because they couldn't hear his heartbeat or whatever. But he was like basically dead, but at the same time he was able to heal and resurrect because he's God or whatever the hell he's supposed to be in allegory. And the thing is too that like Doomsday fought the Justice League beforehand, so he became even more powerful because he fought them. You don't do this in the first movie when there is no Justice League. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's just a terrible idea because of how overpowered he is. You can't kill Superman in the first Man of Steel like sequel, and if they're going to, it's really a terrible idea. So I don't know what the hell they're planning to do with this.
That was my entire point. Is that you have to understand, folks, is that Superman had been a character since like the 40s or in the 30s even actually, and they had built this storyline up. Superman dies. So if you're going to do a story with Doomsday, it needs to be like an epic, highly built up movie to where Doomsday kills Superman in the film and he doesn't come back until the next film. And that's how you do a cinematic universe. You do it like Star Wars, in the Empire Strikes Back, the Empire wins, Jedi, the good guys come out of it. Do it like you said, doing such an important event, because you have to understand that death of Superman was a huge fucking deal when it first happened. It was like Fatal Attractions in Marvel, like the Infinity War. It was one of those big promoted events that happened. And then it led to another storyline called The Reign of the Superman, which we're not going to get into because we're definitely not going to make that into a movie. But again, we're seeing him here already. And how is it possible? Again, we're going to get to something right here. So, Doomsday, of course, that scene copies the Sentinels attack in Days of Futures Past, right? Yes. He fires it at Batman. Batman thinks he's dead, and all of a sudden, Wonder Woman appears with her shield, Can Wonder Woman's shield repel a blast from Doomsday? I'm skeptical of this one, Mike.
Her shield can't repel firepower of that magnitude.
Intensify full of firepower! Ah! Too late!
The thing is, honestly, it just, like, Wonder Woman has, like, weaponry and stuff like that, but she's not known for using it. Like, they're just giving it to her to make her more like a warrior. Like, the first picture we ever saw of Gal Gadot as Superman or Wonder Woman is that she's holding a sword. It's like, no, I mean, just, she's not supposed to. Well, also, Batman's holding a gun in the scene for no reason.
We're going to get to that.
But, like, I don't think that, like, it's powerful. We don't know how powerful Doomsday is in this. He's probably nerfed because he's going to fight them and not, immediately murder all of them. But, like, I don't know. Like, I don't think that, like, I feel like she shouldn't be able to easily repel that shit. She shouldn't even be in the scene. Like, let's be honest.
She shouldn't even be in the movie. Let's be real. This movie,
and, I mean,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. She
should get her own movie and then join the Justice League when they do their movie, which is the right way to do it. But here we have Superman saying, "Is she with you?" And then Batman says, "I thought she was with you." So they're doing that whole, like,
which is,
we don't know her thing.
It's stupid though, just because, like, they're trying to do this whole dark tone, and then they have, like, a comedy scene like that. Oh, I thought she was with you. Like, that's, like, it's contradictory to the tone.
Well, you can have a little bit of comedy. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I just have trouble accepting the fact that that Wonder Woman. Well, again, here we see her with a sword, and Batman has a knife. Or I'm sorry, Batman has a gun, which maybe it's like a special gun that doesn't kill. But Batman's not supposed to have guns.
The thing is that Batman has a strict no gun policy, except for, like, things like the Dark Knight the Dark Knight Returns, which is, non-universe what if Batman, you know what I mean? And he doesn't use real guns. He uses, like, well, except for one scene where he's trying to kill the Joker. But, I don't know. I just don't. The thing is, too, that we see these three here, and we're like, wow, that's a lot for one movie to introduce.
Yeah, this is supposed to be... Okay, I just want to stop you for 1 second. This is supposed to be an iconic scene here that we're seeing Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman.
It's like the Avengers Circle.
Exactly. But it just fails completely because there's no build up to this. She's just gonna appear and help them fight Doomsday out of nowhere, like, and not just that, but Aquaman and Steel, I think, are gonna be in this movie. So they're
Aquaman, Cyborg, the Flash is gonna be in at some point.
Really, in this movie?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear that. Well, nonetheless, it doesn't matter. They're all part of this league. But to me, dude, again, we talked about this. It feels like this is like 6 hours worth of material crammed into a 2.5-hour movie.
And we all know if I directed
the movie.
it would be 6 hours.
But you know what? I'd rather watch your version with little breaks in between to get coffee than sit through this movie that's going to be 5 hours with no development crammed into 2.5. And again, maybe I'm wrong, okay? Maybe I'm wrong about this. But I still don't understand why they insist on bringing in Wonder Woman in this movie. If it's Batman versus Superman, just let it be about them.
The thing is that Wonder Woman is likely to appear earlier in the film in that party scene. And, like, I think that she dances with Bruce Wayne. Like, there is, like, a little thing like that. They don't show in this trailer, but I think in the previous trailer they showed Wonder Woman, like, getting in and out of a car, and then there's, like, a guy looking at her ass and stuff, which I don't know if that was intentional.
She's kind of attractive. I'm not gonna lie.
She looks like really attractive in this suit, and she has looked attractive in the past. But I just wish that she worked out a little bit harder. Like, you can't really tell in this shot because, like, Zack Snyder makes trailer movies, and this whole trailer was basically a movie where they spoiled the shit out of everything to begin with.
Yes, they did.
I don't know. We'll have to wait to see her act. She could be great. She can nail the role, but I still have my doubts.
I don't think this scene is the end of the movie. I think this is the middle of the movie. I think.
Well, hopefully it's not the end of the movie, or I'd be pissed because then it would be a cliffhanger.
Well, what I mean is I don't think this is part of the final act. This is the middle. I think this is Act 2, and I think Act 3 is when they all regroup and they team up to stop Lex Luthor. And I just think that with this film.
What if it was the beginning of the film, and then Superman dies, and they spend the entire movie thinking Superman's dead, and then he comes back at the end to fight Lex Luthor?
That's not happening, bro. It'd be even worse than I thought. The thing is, though, dude, oh, fuck. The thing is, and this is it, by the way, I see it in the trailer, then it has the logo, yeah. The thing, and we're going to be out of here in a moment, the thing with me is that, I don't know, dude, it's like when Batman and Robin came out, in like 97, and it was Batman and Robin, but then we see Batgirl like just there. It's like the same shit. Like, let it be about these two characters, but it's too late. There's no sense in us even bitching about it. Like, Wonder Woman's in like a fucking movie. All right, that's fine. I don't know, Mike.
Too
I'll be
much.
honest. After seeing the first trailer, I got
Yeah.
a little bit, where he goes, "Can you bleed? You will."
Yeah.
Like that was cool.
Yeah.
But after seeing this one, I mean, okay, look at what they're doing. Okay, look what they're doing. They are introducing into the DC cinematic universe. They're introducing Batman and Wonder Woman in one movie, plus
Mhm.
Lex Luthor, plus Doomsday, plus eventually, of course, Aquaman and Cyborg, and it's like I don't know how they can possibly fit all these characters into one movie and have everybody get developed. I don't get it. And I know someone's gonna say, "Oh, well, Wonder Woman's gonna get her own movie to develop her." Yeah, but
That's
do
after
that
the fact.
now. Do that
Yeah.
before this movie comes out. Then at least it matters. It means something. Like, oh shit, she's there. All right, this is supposed to be an iconic moment, and I feel like it could have been more iconic if they took their time.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, there's four words I can sum up this whole movie in from what I can think of so far. Too much, too soon. The thing is, like, we eased into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, albeit at the end of the original Iron Man movie, Nick Fury shows up and talks about the Avengers Initiative, and
Yeah.
in the next Hulk movie, Tony Stark shows up at the very end. So they started getting that immediately in people's minds. But the thing is, they eased us in. They had all these movies. They had 5 movies before the Avengers, and they introduced everyone in their own individual movie, and then they went at it. But in this case, we have a Superman movie, and now we basically have Justice League Light.
And then this is gonna build into the real Justice League movie. I feel like Dawn of Justice is gonna be the creation of the Justice League, and then when their movie comes out, it's gonna be all of them there. But then we've also got the Suicide Squad coming out, and how are they gonna factor in? We'll
Honestly,
see.
at this point, I'm looking more forward to that movie than this one.
Oh, I am too. I'm significantly more excited about that one. So that's it for the trailer. I mean, visually, it's going to look fine. A little bit too Zack Snyder-ish for me. I'm not a Zack Snyder fan. I think it's cramming too much. Do you have any final thoughts about the trailer before we get out of here? I'm just, honestly, it did not get me any more excited than I already was.
I was very excited after the second trailer because I was like, oh, maybe they're not going to mess this up afterwards. And then they did with this one. So basically, I started off like, then my excitement went really high and then it went really low with this one. So I'm now like idling at mediocre. So we'll have to see.
I'm probably going to see this movie in like the $5 theater. I hate to say it. But you never know. It might be good. Anyways, that's it for this video, Mike. Check out LaughingStock Media and go sub to him. Lol, right?
Now, do it now. What are you waiting for? Come on.
Yeah. All right, last question. Which one are you looking forward to the most? This or Man of Steel? Man, stupid. Which one are you looking forward to the most? This or Cap 3?
Gal Gadot's sex tape. I mean, Cap 3.
I agree. All right, we'll catch y'all down the road.